There is never, ever a dull moment watching Fiji, is there? For different reasons on this occasion than in previous games when it's been because they've had blockbuster rugby that has beaten Australia and nearly downed Wales. This time it's because they just decided not to really turn up and make it a proper arm wrestle against a really spirited Georgia team. They did, however, come through in the end, 17 points to 12 in Bordeaux, and they've done enough, well, very nearly done enough, to cement that quarter-final place against England. They need 1 point from their final game against Portugal. So lots to talk about in this one. I'm Tim, and this is Egg Chasers. And as you may well be able to tell, I'm in a bit of a makeshift kind of studio setup at the minute because I'm back in the UK. I was on the red-eye flight out of Lyon this morning and still not able to process what happened last night. It's weird that only a matter of hours ago I was watching Italy get their pants pulled down against New Zealand, who scored 96 points. That really happened. And yeah, flight from Lyon to Brussels to Manchester, just to come back and make sure I'm still married, kids still recognise who I am, put in a little bit of a shift, just enough of a shift for me to be able to fly off back out to France for the rest of the Rugby World Cup and cover it here for you on Egg Chasers. So thank you very much for your support of the channel. I absolutely love it. And I absolutely love that game. And I was kind of torn, you know, because Fiji's kind of the sort of romantic, positive story of this Rugby World Cup, everyone's second favourite team, to use that cliche. And it looked like they were going to throw it away. At the same time, whilst kind of being a little bit frustrated seeing Fiji not build on what they've done already, I was equally thinking, what a story brewing for Georgia. And let me tell you, I have no doubt whatsoever that in the back of the Georgian players' minds would have been that result last night from Italy, getting absolutely humped by the ABs, because I know Georgia are not happy with what they perceive to be cartel-like behaviour by the Six Nations, shutting them out from progressing and having access to that tournament. Last night's result of Italy versus New Zealand was the worst possible thing that could happen as far as the Six Nations countries are concerned, because they're all shareholders of that competition, Italy included, which is why they don't want to have the conversation about anyone else joining the Six Nations. They want that conversation to go away. It's a very inconvenient one, but it's one that kind of has to be had when Italy have played the way they did last night. Humiliating. So Georgia would have known, all right, we might not get through to the quarterfinals, but we can make a statement and we can force this conversation if we go out there and do something today. And they almost did. Certainly in that first 40 minutes, it looked like it was very much going their way. And all of the things which we saw Fiji do in previous games, they suddenly weren't doing. There was all of a sudden, it was odd. Fiji were just passive defensively. And rather than lots of deceptive running angles, they were just passing the ball, running one-out passes, trying to run over Georgia. Georgia were loving that. They were soaking that up and returning it with interest as well, with finally guys like Niniashvili really showing what they're capable of. And yeah, that was great to see. Then it felt a little bit like after 20 minutes, Fiji sort of hit factory reset and suddenly went, hold on a minute, we're going to go down here. And they just started going, all right, well, if in doubt, let's just start smashing people in the best possible way. They just started putting in big, dominant defensive hits. And I hope the Georgian players are all right, because a couple of them had to be carried off the field. One had to have a boot cut off. One was on the bench with his arm in a sling after a tackle as well. And that is one... Do you know what? It's the mark of a team sometimes, being able to solve things out on the field during a game. Quite often you can lose a game, then you go back to the drawing board and you go, what went wrong there? Okay, we'll try and fix that next time. The mark of good teams are the ones that are able to work that out whilst the game's in motion. And the fact that Fiji managed to not play well and yet come through and get the points that they needed, I think actually they can take that as a positive. They'll need to be a lot better. They're not getting past England if they play like that. Not a chance. I think England will just squeeze them out of the game, will just dominate territory, and Fiji didn't look like they had it in them to play from 80 metres or whatever. Fiji need to build scores as well as doing the things that they can do. They did not play well today, but like I say, the positive is they came through. And again, a positive is they were able to rely on their set piece for large chunks of that game. And also I love the fact they can kind of bank on their scrum from being decent, but also rather than having a scrum half that takes a quick tap penalty, they've got a tight head prop that takes a quick tap penalty and then gasses it round about 3 players. I just love watching Fiji play, although it was difficult to watch if you were a Fiji fan in that first half. Conversely, like I say, Georgia were much, much better. And I find that slightly frustrating, that sort of a reversal. Fiji didn't build on what they'd already done, and Georgia showed us what they should have been showing us in previous games. And I think this is going to be a very frustrating World Cup for them. But this particular fixture, I love. It's such an interesting matchup of styles. And I think the previous time they played a couple of years ago was 15-all. This one was close again. I'd love to see an annual Georgia v Fiji fixture. That'd be really fun. A couple of negatives. The blimmin' horn. Who was blowing that horn the whole match? Admittedly, I haven't had a lot of sleep. I've got about half an hour's kip on one of the bench chairs in Lyon Airport. Got about an hour on the plane to Brussels and about 45 minutes on the plane to Manchester. So maybe I was a bit cranky, but wasn't that horn a little bit annoying? It did seem like it went away in the second half, so I'm imagining maybe at half-time someone went, right, I'm going to deal with this. Took it off him. Because it reminded me of, do you remember the 2010 Football World Cup with the Vuvuzelas in South Africa? It was getting a little bit like that. But I have to say, that stadium looks absolutely brilliant. I've been to a bunch of French stadiums, not just during this World Cup, where most of them are football stadiums, to be fair, but working on the Champions Cup, I've been to La Rochelle. Atmosphere is unbelievable there. Racing 92's arena, which is just futuristic, incredible place to go and watch sport. Toulon, amazing. Never been to Bordeaux and Toulouse. And the way that the World Cup's organised with where the games are, it's such a big country and it's so spread out. I just found it too difficult to get to Bordeaux or Toulouse on this one, or Nantes for that matter. So, yeah, I was watching that game today, just kind of going, oh, missed a trick there. But I'm not complaining, and I'll be back out there and in amongst it again in just a few days' time. And the games I'll be watching this coming week are the 2 in Lyon, New Zealand v Uruguay, France v Italy, and then I'll be up to Paris for Scotland v Ireland. So some good games coming. So again, hit subscribe in the channel so you don't miss a video. So yeah, with Georgia, they started like a train, didn't they? They were 9-0 up. And like I say, Fiji hit factory reset, started just breaking Georgians. And then they have the box office talent to make the difference in the end. Again, they solved it and they went to their skipper, Nayathalevu, who is, I mean, just what an incredible looking specimen he is. Just as a physical specimen, he's quite something, isn't he? Such an athletic player. And yeah, delivered when it was needed. Lavani Bottia as well, another massive player for Fiji. He was man of the match. It was his offload to Herbosi that set Fiji on their way with what turned out to be the winning try. And yeah, really enjoyed the match. Really enjoyed the match. There was a point where it looked like you're going, oh my goodness me, Eddie Jones's Australia are going to get through, aren't they? And then when I put my England fan hat on, I was thinking, oh no, I know how this one's going to end. Eddie's going to have taken all that stick, and then he's going to go and knock England out of a World Cup, make it to a semi-final. And then he'll start talking about all the negativity, mate. But no, Australia can play their game. And then, this is the cruel part for Australia now. They play their game against Portugal tomorrow. Isn't it tomorrow? Or is it tonight? Anyway, they play their game against Portugal tomorrow. And then they have to sit in camp and wait the full week. They're not allowed to leave France until all the pool games are played. So they've just got to sit in France in their team hotel. They can't even go travelling and stuff. They've just got to sit there. Poor guys. Poor guys. But Fiji's journey continues. 1 point to get against Portugal, and then we can look forward to a week on Sunday. 2 weeks tomorrow, we can look forward to England v Fiji in Marseille, and I will be there for that one. Don't you worry about that. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your support. It's been brilliant so far. We're halfway through and just getting started. I will see you on the next video.